Hey guys, just wanted to do my reaction video to the X-Files season 10, episode 2, titled this. Gonna be one of the the last episode I had mixed feelings about because one, it turns out that entire alien invasion from season 10. Then we found out that even though and then we also found out that it's the cigarette smoking man, not Mulder, who is the biological father, William, and who's sending Scully these visions. Granted, even though Chris Carter has said that he set these things, he's planted these seeds for years, and that it was always planned for the cigarette smoking man to be William's dad. Still have mixed feelings about it, and I don't know. It just feels like rewatching these I guess it's like miniseries era, these like shortened like miniseries era episodes of the X-Files. I feel like it's kind of easy to say that it's a microcosm of the whole show, or especially in its later years where, I don't know, I feel like the Case of the Week stuff was better than anything Syndicate related. Just because it just seemed like it got more and more convoluted and just dragged out, and I don't know, it's weird. Anyway, I'm just gonna do my reaction, give you my thoughts on it, and I'm looking forward to checking out what we have in store.
Langley?
I believe his name is Langley. Richard Langley, Lingo Langley.
Lone Gunman Langley?
I need to know. Am I dead? If I am, they know that I know.
Oh, that he knows what? We're old friends of Richard Langley. Figured if I hadn't seen you in 5 years, and I never would, and I could stop regretting.
We received a message on my cell.
Asking if he was alive. You should go. They're watching. Who is watching? Purdue Services. We wanted a life eternal together.
Out to me if you're alive.
Memory isn't erased, it's suppressed. They've probably theorized, as we have, that their lives are a simulation. That perhaps Richard's subconscious must have recalled the two of you investigating this type of subject matter. Maybe he saw Mulder in his dreams.
Who hasn't?
Pradier is likely aware that Richard is reaching out to you to expose the simulation.
Is there anything we can do to help Langley get through?
Do you have to sell?
Whoa, hey, whoa. Sorry. It's been a long day. Tough day. Thank you. Scully, you looked so adorbs just there. All curled up on the ball in the booth of a skanky bar with your fingers wrapped around the grip of an assassin's Glock. I did what I could to follow Dr. Hamby's algorithms, and I added what little I know about freaking. And we have to wait and see if we receive another transmission, but they knew Langley was trying to reach us, and they knew that Dr. Hamby knew about Langley and the computer simulations. The longer we leave the phone on, the sooner they're going to find us, so I got to turn it off and we got to move to different spots. Oh.
Dana? Dana Scully?
Yeah.
But I'm not real, though. That right? You are real and I'm not?
Dr. Hamby told us you were in a simulation.
Mulder, it's like I designed heaven. I eat hot dogs and donuts all day long. No one here ever dies of cancer or Alzheimer's. And the Ramones are here, and they don't fight. And every night they get on stage and they play California Sun and destroy it. We're living a lie here. It's a work camp where digital
slaves. They take our uploaded minds to develop science that only the elite will use to lead your world. We turn theories of space colonization into realities for them. We dream, but we're not allowed to have dreams. Goals, nothing for ourselves. No choice, no diversity. There's a wall around this place. The stars are fake. Sunlight has no warmth. And all the great minds that have died since they realized this place are here. Steve Jobs, Marvin Minsky, Michael Crichton. They all hate it here. And they don't even know who they are. What we were in that life is completely opposite from what we are here.
Go to the Long Lines building. Titan Point. Please, for all of us, shut this down.
By you. I didn't get your value to Mr. Y, but he explained that we'd meet over and over and then I'd change my opinion.
So Mr. Y was his name. And
In the last few days, I've seen your instinct for survival.
Now that I won you over, you'll stop saying.
What you really need to know is this. Life on this earth, all human life, most animal life, is about to be crushed, burned to the ground. The computer simulator down the hall is necessary for our evolution as a species. When we leave this planet, this life will have evolved into that. Of the hundreds of extraordinary minds uploaded into that world, the only one that figured out it was living in a computer simulation had 7 billion choices to contact in this world. And the one person Langley reached out to was you.
And terminate my father. Would I be able to upload to the simulation? And could Agent Scully be with me?
Now, through any smartphone, no one's even aware we're doing it. We can take a piece of your mind anytime you make a call. Painless. 2 hours.
Painless, except we have to die.
One of our best incentives here is that you and loved ones don't ever die.
Mr. turning it off? Why don't she like smash it or like shoot at her with her gun? That kind of like the close that's so smash it dramatically. It's gonna be gone. Of course they have time to do, if they just. How long have you been investigating conspiracies now? Okay, so yeah, all gone. Should have known better.
Mulder, I'm afraid.
What the heck? What? What? Well, this episode was definitely a lot better than the season premiere, and it was also really unique in the fact that there were callbacks and connections to the season premiere. You know, with we find out. I don't remember if they mentioned in the premiere like the woman's name. That was a syndicate member, but working against the cigarette smoking man, Erica Price, and I guess the other associate that Mulder found that Mulder had at gunpoint that was with her was named Mr. Y. I mean, of course they syndicate members or like Mulder contacts would have all these nicknames like Mr. Y, Deep Throat, and cigarette smoking man, and all these different aliases, and they're talking about all this stuff about space colonization, and it just seems like, oh, how would you do this? It's like you can't move like 7 billion people on this, you can't move 7 billion people, but then you figure out that, oh, they're just having their minds backed up on this computer simulation as revealed by Langley, and it was cool to have it was a cool way to kind of like bring back the lone gunman, or at least a member of the lone gunman, and his death still but make the not like cheapen their deaths. I guess they were, if you remember in I think one of the episodes from season 9, the lone gunmen, they were exposed to it was like a standalone case where they were exposed to a virus and they had to be quarantined themselves in order to keep it from being released and getting out. Byers, Frohicke, and Langley. And also the fact, I think they also had Jimmy Bond and Eve Harlow in that episode, but it was basically supposed to be because I guess I don't know if anybody remembers, but the Lone Gunmen did have their own spin-off series for a season, and it's actually by watching that series and what got me to start watching X-Files episodes and got me into the show, just because I just wanted to see the connection, especially since Jimmy Bond, Mulder cameoed in, I think, one of the last episodes of that show, and it was kind of like a crossover with stuff that was going on in season 8, and watching all the promos about him being abducted by aliens and him going missing, it's stuff it ended up being my gateway into this franchise. But yeah, anyway, it was interesting to find out that at some point in time that Langley not only had this woman he was dating, that decided to become members of this program, a company called Titan Point, where it's they digitally upload copies of your mind into this simulation as kind of have your mind on backup. So, and at first you just think it's it was an interesting twist where it says that digital consciousness doesn't become active until the person actually dies. So it's almost it's like a digital afterlife. And I don't know. I read somewhere that people who did I read a review of this before it aired, comparing it to similarities to Black Mirror, the plot of this episode about maybe possibly living in a virtual simulation. You know, I've never seen that show. I've never had time to watch it. I've heard good things. I'm sure it's a good show. I don't know if I'll ever have time to watch it, but it was interesting. It was like a really interesting plot where Langley's like talking about how they're living in this like this digital simulation where it's like, oh, we can eat hot dogs and don't gain any weight and all these luxuries, but it's like they're kind of just like programs. It's something that they're just. It's not something of their own accord. It's not really anything of their own accord. It's something they're just kind of like programs to do. And so that's like the space colonization thing was really just a cover for I guess this like I guess it's kind of like virtual world afterlife. So which kind of reminds me of like it was. I don't know. I think like anybody who watched like Yu-Gi-Oh. About how the cast got sucked into this virtual simulation, had to fight their way out. It was kind of like it reminded me of something similar to that. Titan Point gave them no free will, and how Langley left them clues to investigate it in the events of his death to shut it down, knowing that as his girlfriend suspected that professor from Maryland that there was more to it than meets. He would, be in conspiracy theories. Of course, there's going to be more to it than meets the eye, and he was going to be paranoid about it, naturally. And it was interesting that I left the, how they in the gravesite they found like a coin with a QR code on it, which I'm not sure like when those QR things started. If I don't remember, like were they ever like there from like who would put it there? Like how it's like who? Yeah, it's like who would put it? Like how would who would have had to put it there? Because I think QR codes didn't start until like maybe mid 2000, like mid. QR codes were created back in like 1994, but how long they rose to prominence, and I guess use it for like commercial applications like they are now. I don't know when. Like, I mean, it's not something I started getting into until a few years ago. But anyway, I guess it worked for the. I'll go with it. I worked with the plot. For some reason, I thought the guy from the assassin that kept following them when he was shot that he was that they shot him dead, and I guess it was non-fatal wound. But it was interesting to figure out that there was a nice callback to Deep. They found out his real name was like Richard Pacula. Apparently, he was one of Mulder's informats from back in season 1 of the X-Files. And also like the QR and how the QR code like led them to learn about Titan Point and how the X-Files, I guess they found out through Skinner how like they were digitized and given all access to all agencies after Mulder and Scully went on the run and left the bureau, and at the end of in the season 9 finale. So it was interesting that I don't know. It seems like it's kind of like how is it feels like they found a way to make the show updated and not feel too dated, and it's having all the X-Files digitized, and how Scared didn't tell them about it even after the X-Files were reopened, and Mulder and Scully rejoined the bureau, and it was interesting that it seemed like this schism between Mulder and Scully with Skinner is like it's going to be last all season long now. You're like keeping this revelation from Mulder and Scully about about cigarette smoking man being the dad, and then also figuring out that Erica Price was running the simulation, and saying that you can like scan people's brain waves through like their use of like cell phones. I guess it's a reference to all they talk about. I don't know, people like radiation from people using their cell phones and causing like brain tumors or something. They heard back a few years ago. So that was kind of interesting how it was like that's how they digitally upload people minds, or how they like getting people's like brain waves to upload into the server, and how Mulder was saying is like, oh, they don't have any free will, they don't have choice, nobody's gonna be giving a choice to do this if they're doing this to everybody. And she's saying is like, oh well, of course you have a choice, you just don't have to use your cell phone, which like falls flat, because nobody in the digital age is just gonna like decide to just go back to live without like this technology we have now. And it was, I was surprised that they just simply try to like turn off the server rather than try to like, I don't know, just destroy it somehow. Like you just shoot at it. I don't know, like shoot at it with a gun, or like just smash it. Smash it with something just to make sure that they couldn't repair it, and that the data was unrecoverable. They couldn't like repair the server, or like recover any data somehow, and therefore destroy this virtual world that they're creating, that they created. And so the fact that it's like, oh, let's go back to the FBI and report it, and then come back with a team. It's like that they're gonna cover the tracks by the time they get back, and I was kind of surprised, because I figured it's like, haven't they investigated enough conspiracies to know that that's the kind of stuff they would have done? Like, that's what kind of shocked me. And I was also shocked by the ending, where I guess like apparently, I guess like I said, by the use of everybody having like their own cell phones, that the assassin's mind was uploaded and killed the digital Langley. And it was kind of a weird note to end on, because I just figured there was like some kind of closure to that. But it was an interesting way to end the episode. But again, aspects like the return, being able to return the return of Langley, making it a standalone episode with the connections to with the Syndicate, or at least members of the Syndicate. Making the episode relevant with the digital age. I think it was definitely I thought it was a really excellent episode. I really enjoyed it, and definitely better this season. Premiere. I hope they keep this up next week, because the previews for now, this, like I said, the standalone supernatural or sci-fi cases of the week look better than the Syndicate stuff, which I feel like is a microcosm of the whole series. But anyway, guys, what do you think of the episode? Leave your thoughts in the comments down below. If you like this video, like, share, and subscribe, and I will talk to you guys soon. Take care.